guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And this is a Patreon especial. We have a tier on our
Why
Patreon.
do you always say especial?
Because it feels good, damn it, Joseph. Fuck
What's
you.
the especial?
Come to Sweet Henry.
No, I won't.
Shit.
Goddamn you,
Come to Sweet Henrietta.
We have a tier on our Patreon. Just for our special patrons, where we draw a name once a week and they get to pick the video that we do. So this week it was Carla Park, and she picked two. One of them was an amazing pick. It's Judgment Night. Emilio! Fucking great movie. Another one is another great movie, Trick or Treat. Carla, you know what amazing? But it's funny because I was listening to Joe Bob Briggs, talking about this movie, and he was talking about a movie he did on the last drive-in called Deathgasm, which is another great movie. And he was talking about how Deathgasm takes off from this movie because it was based in the time where Tipper Gore and everybody was saying that rock music's making these kids fucking crazy.
You fucking devils, go to church, you son of a bitches!
But everybody's saying, hey, this rock music is melting these kids' brains, make it stop. And that's what this movie's based on. It's this kid, he's a loser kid, he's a metalhead, he's going to school with all these jocks, he's getting picked on all the fucking time, and he has one beacon in the night. One. And that is fucking, what's his name?
Yeah, good job. You're leading it up.
I was ready. And that is Sammy fucking Kerr.
Fuck yeah, the devil's horns! Let's go get lit in a bar! Stand up and shout!
Stand up! Stand up!
Stand up and let it out! It came out in 1986. It is definitely a product of its time. It's full-on 80s magical awesomeness. It's got the music, it's got the look, all the sayings were there. It was so cool and unique. The music was fucking great. You got Ozzy fucking Osbourne playing a preacher, an evangelist on TV, which is hilarious.
Gonna drive my long steel missile down on your love channel.
And then you have Gene Simmons playing Nuke, a radio DJ.
They tried to ban him, but they couldn't stop him.
Sammy Kerr dies in a hotel fire, and the kid's all depressed about it. He goes to Gene Simmons, who is the DJ at his local radio station. He goes, you know what? He would have wanted you to have this record. That was his last record. We're going to play it on Halloween, but I want you to have it first. And the kid takes it home, he spins it, and he plays it backwards, and it's this demonic, like,
Get some oats. Get some oats. You guys know about that, playing rock albums backwards. Sometimes they did put messages in them.
Yeah.
You know, it was for jokes and you know, laughter or whatever. It wasn't meant to be anything serious. In this instance, it's kind of like a Ouija board. He goes home and he starts playing it and he starts talking to Sammy Kerr, and through that Ouija board or spirit box kind of session, he gets to experience a devil of a good time, because what Sammy Kerr or his spirit or the devil says is like, I'll help you get revenge on all those fucking bullies that were picking on you. If you do what me needs you to do, because loyal soldiers rock! And then that's pretty much the story. Like, he uses the album in a way to get the revenge on all the jocks. The special effects weren't bad. Like, I mean, like some of them were like, eh, but sometimes it was like, damn, that's pretty fucking good, because I thought this was like low budget for 1986, and it was like pretty damn good with what they did.
What they would do would be fun, because you remember like going to the horror video section when you were a kid, the VHSs and the little bubble boxes. You would have so many movies that looked fucking rad, right? And they would have all they would be was there'd be a close up of like a demon or like a fucking like, yeah, you know, and that's what this movie would do at times. Like they
like
did,
Night of the Demons when he had the martinis.
Exactly, exactly like Night of the Demons. And in points where they wouldn't have money to show. Like at one point, Sammy Kerr's body comes back on stage and he starts shooting people with his guitar, and these like electric fucking currents are shooting.
This is the greatest rock show ever!
And he can't, like, they don't have the money to show these kids disintegrating or being blown to bits or whatever, or having their heads blown off by the electricity that he's bringing with rock and fucking roll. But what they would do is they would close back in on his face, and his face all burnt up and shit, and he'd be like, yeah. You know, there's really only one performance in the movie, but it's fucking legit, man.
I like
when he gets on that stage and starts rocking out, like, you believe this motherfucker.
Rock and roll, rock and roll, steal your soul.
The first part of the movie actually feels like a musical because it's constantly like this fucking bang your head fucking music in the background with everything that's going on, and it's by this band called Fastlane who did all the music. Fastaway, sorry. And the music's great.
Fastlane is a tobacco store
in Winchester, Kentucky. It's nice because you don't have to walk in to get your cigarettes. You can just go around the curve.
Drive through. But he looked like Timothy Oliphant if he had gone to like Spencer's and just is trying to promote Spencer's and like I don't know.
He's perfect. He looked like D. Snyder. He looked like the dude from Brain Scan.
I don't know, but every time I saw it, was like when he appeared, I was like, "Rock me, Amadeus." Like he had this thing with the way he moves, like. And it was like he was
sexual and violent.
He could have he was either Timothy Oliphant, aka Spencer's Timothy Oliphant, or he was a fucking like a retro version of Sting coming to the WWF and be like in the rafters, like.
This entire movie reminded me a lot of Brain Scan. Brain Scan's a better movie, and here's why. And this is what's wrong with Trick or Treat. Actually, is that even though it's fun and it's maybe even a funner movie than Brain Scan is, Brain Scan had this weird late night HBO feeling of murder and true crime to it. No. And this movie never went dark enough. Eventually, what happens is the power starts to take over too much, and people he likes are starting to die or whatever, and he kind of pushes out in a weird way. And he's like, "Stop! Okay, I'm done with this. I don't want these people to die. I'm not a murderer." All this shit like that. Sammy Kerr turns against him and starts to show up and starts to fuck with him and starts to threaten him. So then Sammy Kerr becomes the bad guy, and he's got to stop Sammy Kerr. Pretty much the exact same thing that happens in Brain Scan with Edward Furlong, but in that movie it gets dark and it gets fucked up and it gets crazy. In this movie, it never reached that level of darkness. Once Sammy Kerr turned into a bad guy, the movie, while still entertaining, got kind of hokey, and there was never anything really at stake. You were never actually scared, even though it's a horror movie.
It kind of flounders a bit.
Yeah, it just kind of stays in that middle, like it's like a Hallmark version of a 80s rock horror movie, in that it never does anything that risky. It's just kind of there, but it's still fun and it's still a great time.
Yeah, I had a great time watching it, and I think the problem is there was so much good material that they could have explored. Like, again, I think that the best thing would have been is to explore the high school element of it. If you ever notice in the 80s, especially in 80s movies about bullied kids or bullied high school guys or whatever, it's always like the girl that is more like is interested in them and like they wants to have a relationship, like is hotter than the actual girl they want to go after. Because in this movie he was wanting to go after the one girl, but that girl that was like actually for him was like way hotter. I'm like, dude, just focus on that shit. And then also the relationship with him and Nuke. You don't understand. Like, you're friends with the head DJ of a apparently a successful rock station. Like, how did that happen? Like, I wanted to know a little bit more of that story. Yeah. Like, again, I don't think that there's things about it that could have been explored and should have been explored, but I understand it was in the 80s and they didn't have a lot of budget, and they were like, let's make a fucking bang bang pow, you're pregnant kind of movie.
There was one scene that was very true to horror, and that was the scene with the girl in the back seat of the car.
That was.
Because it literally, they puts the tape on her ears and she like starts to undress herself, and she's like, come at Miss Steven.
Touch me, baby, drive me crazy.
And the music like melts her ears and shit, and that was a cool scene. It's just, they never really went all the way with any of their ideas, but the movie's enjoyable as a whole. Definitely something you should check out and watch. And by the end, it literally just got kind of stupid. It's basically Wes Craven's Shocker, because the guy can come through any electrical wave, and then you're doing these terrible 80s electrical effects, like over everything, and it just kind of fell apart at the end. But still, a great movie. Totally movie you definitely have to watch.
Oh my God,
I'm so glad I watched it.
Yeah, and thank you, Carla, for letting us know about this movie and recommending it, because I had never seen this movie, and the fact that it missed my radar is no, actually, I missed a lot of things. It's not the greatest movie of all time, but for like anybody that's like an 80s fanatic, it's for you.
Carla, thank you so much. Thank you all our Patreons. And again, if you guys want to get on this, you want to pick a movie for us to review, click the link below.
What'd you give it?
It's right in the description below. I give it a solid 6. Like, it's not a great movie. It's got a million problems, but I love the shit out of it. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to show it to people. It's a fun fucking movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So, what do you get?
A 7.
7? I didn't hear it.
I said it already. God, clean out the fucking cum from your eardrums.
I can't. It's buried there.
Crustaceans.
Hello with your all thoughts. We love your fucking faces. And if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you. Death to false metal. Fuck. He actually says that on the record too. What? He's like, when he plays the backwards, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, no false metal. No false metal.
The only metal I know is smoking in the boys' room.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.